Yes, everybody, Palabala Bumba. Hope you are all safe and well. Don't know why the bumper popped into my head. It is Friday. It's the afternoon. It's almost home time. If you're going along to the Thomas Repka night tonight at the Rust Club in Romford, I'll be there. Come over and say hello. They've also joined by Julien Faubert, Jimmy Walker, and Ginger Pele himself. So it should be quite a fun night. This morning, we spoke about some players we've been linked to for a change. At lunchtime, we did an opposition chat with Jacob from Sunderland Fan TV. And now it's time for the world-famous Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. We are going with a midfield special. A midfield special. Talking about lots of midfield players. Players leaving, players coming. Mainly leaving. Mainly leaving today. But yeah, let's crack on like Donkey Kong. Don't forget to check out neesamonbrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opiniones. Let's start with players who could potentially leaving. Edson Alvarez is actually, it was a report in on Sean's Twitter, West Ham Football, and it was reiterated on Claret and Hugh, talking about three midfielders and where he's sort of been waiting for people to be interested in our players to be moved on. It does seem in this last week or last 2 weeks before the transfer window closes that we're seeing a lot more interest, a lot more movement, particularly obviously as sides coming back from pre-season and managers are seeing what they want to do with the guys who've come back and various and that type of thing. Let's start off with Edson Alvarez. Now, according to the report, it does state that a number of clubs are showing an interest in Edson. Now, we're led to believe that he's not someone who's going to fit Potter's system. That's what we're told. Whether you believe that or don't believe it, that's what we've been told. He hasn't featured in pre-season much, which is understandable. He returned back late from, obviously, he had his the Mexico Gold Cup victory, of which he was player of the tournament. And I think the club assumed that may well have given some clubs interest in buying him. But that hasn't materialised. In fact, his only real appearance in pre-season was playing for the side against Lille B on Sunday, where he played as centre-half alongside Ollie Scars and Mavropanos as a back three. I don't want him to go. I think he's a bloody good player. He's a player that I would love if he could curb his aggression so we're not going to lose him for half a dozen games a season because of suspension. Maybe even, he played as a centre half for Mexico in the Gold Cup and as a player of the tournament there. So maybe that could be how it's utilised, or even indeed if we go for a double pivot sometimes in that CDM role, he could be alongside Freddie Potts. Although I think personally, Freddie Potts has it in his locker to be progressed into an 8, a bit like Declan Rice, but I think he's got more in his locker at a younger age, in honesty. However, a report in Voetbal International has suggested that Ajax are interested in him and being named as one club and interested in bringing him back to the club this summer. However, they obviously financial limitations by Ajax makes the deal not a one that's easily done when players have to leave in order to finance that. I think West Ham are currently expecting a loss on the 30-odd million we paid for him. It could be even that it could be a loan with obligation to buy, potentially. I really want to see him still at West Ham. I just think he's got something different compared to everyone else in terms of that sort of that aggression, which can be very useful at times if used in the right way. So we'll see what happens with that going forward. Elsewhere, Guido Rodriguez is in the heart of a battle for him. The battle for Guido. Now, according to reports coming out of Mexico, Club America are interested in bringing him back home. Obviously, himself and Edson both played for Club America at the same time. And they are interested. It's been led to believe that they have reached out to his entourage. Does Rodrigo have an entourage? Rodriguez have an entourage? I don't know. And he has a willingness to return to Mexico. Slight fly in the ointment there in terms of homegrown and foreign quotas. Club America would have to release one of their foreign-based players in order to allow Guido to be integrated into the squad as a foreign player. It's believed that West Ham will be looking at around €8 million, about £6.5 million for Guido, and it's been reported that a Saudi Pro League have interest in him. I imagine it's probably Neom, because they're trying to buy everyone at the moment. And an offer of £6.5 million, €8 million ish, has been offered apparently. And according to Sean, maybe in the next sort of week, he's going to be in the Saudi Pro League. Who knows? Who knows? Clearly, his career is not at West Ham. He's very much on the peripherals of the squad, and we've been linked to a lot of midfielders, and I think that maybe a return back to Mexico or Saudi Pro League. I still think he could do a job. I know Real Betis were interested, but they've got other players they're looking, and they're converting some players into CDM roles and stuff, and money's a bit tight there as well. So I don't think that will be the home ground for him. Let's talk about the final of the trio of midfielders who we've had in sort of news about their departure. Andy Irving, obviously the club rejected a £2.2 million bid from, we believe, Celtic. And there is increasing belief internally that he will be moving back to Scotland, probably Celtic, for around £3 million, maybe up to £3.5 million based on add-ons. That deal looks like it could happen sooner rather than later. And I think it'd be great for him. He'll go back he'll be playing regular football, and they'll see, and Scotland will benefit from it internationally as well in terms of him playing, regular football for Celtic. Now, in terms of coming in, there is a Josh Brownhill cloud above people who are coming. I believe that we'll probably get one in, plus someone like Josh Brownhill on a free transfer. If not Josh, maybe Lorenzo Pellegrini or someone like that, alongside spending money on a player or two. You've got to have a player or two. We need three, ideally, at least. And we, according to reports, West Ham are interested in the Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Alexis Garcia. Now, we were linked with Garcia during his time at Girona, and he actually came through the ranks at Man City, played a number of games. He's 28, so he's not the spring chicken, so to speak, but he still has his a couple of decent years in the tank, so to speak. He made 9 appearances for Man City, and Guardiola was always very impressed with his composure and vision, it says. And then he had a few moves away, Dinamo Bucharest, is it Eibar as well? But then returned to Catalonia in 2021 when he played for Girona, and was part of that side which qualified for the Champions League for the first time, with Dubrovnik as a striker and stuff as well. And then because of that, we were actually linked with him then, but he then moved to Bayer Leverkusen for around £15 million. Who had just won the Bundesliga. But then obviously Xabi Alonso left, Ten Hag came in, and Ten Hag is basically doing a bit of a West Ham rebuild job, really, in terms of Bayer Leverkusen. He got rid of Granit Xhaka, he's got rid of Jonathan Tah, Jeremy Frimpong, and Alexis is the next person apparently to leave. And West Ham have shown an interest in him once again. Now, obviously, it's going to come down to dollar. And you would assume, I still think if we can get someone like him on a low cost, 5 million quid, 10 million quid, maybe, sort of, he's really pump money. I know he's 28. I know he's not young, but he's a good player, and he could come in and do a job now. We've been linked with the likes of Douglas Luiz for like £35 million and stuff like that. I'd rather still go and get, if we're not going to get Matheus Fernandes, and it might be a case that we go back in for him in January, maybe, seeing how Southampton get along if he hasn't moved on since then. So maybe someone like Alexis who could come in and play alongside Freddie Potts as a two. Energy, he's a real box-to-box player. He's got full of energy. He would, he's tenacious. I like him as a player. I liked him when he was in La Liga as well. I think it'll be a decent buy, alongside maybe someone like a free transfer, maybe a Josh Brownhill as a squad player. I don't think he'll be a bad squad player in terms of Josh Brownhill. Allowing the likes of Lewis Orford to go out on loan as well. For me, that's where he needs to be, because I think Freddie Potts has proven that if these guys aren't going to be playing week in, week out, in terms of the academy players, send them out on loan. Get that convey about going. So, next year, Lewis could come back in and compete with whoever the midfield is alongside Freddie Potts. That's how I would do it. Whether it happens, we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget, on Sunday, we've got our Thomas Repka interview, which is very fun, very interesting in more ways than one. And if you are going to Thomas Repka night tonight, I look forward to seeing you there. Come over and say hello. People message me, go, I saw you at West Ham and you never came, and I didn't want to come over and say hello and bother you. Bother me. Come over and say hello. Have a chat. Let me know what you think about football. Let me know what you think about West Ham. I love to hear everyone's opinions. And don't forget to check out neesandmummerbrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opinions. We'll be back tomorrow with Matchday Morning and Starting 11 show, the watch along as well, all that good stuff, brought to you in association with our friends at Match Bingo. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Much love. Peace out.